Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to episode 5 of this Gleaner Instagram live series, sports series. Thank you for joining us, and for today we have a very special guest. She's an Olympian. She will be going to the Olympics next July. She's Danusia Francis, and what we're going to be talking to her about today is her journey towards the Olympics, and also her commitment to mentoring the next future generation of gymnasts, both in UK but also in Jamaica. So let's see if we can get her on now. Okay. And in the meantime, please just send in your questions. So any questions that you would like to ask Danusia, please feel free to send them, and we'll get them in to you. Hi, Danusia.
Hi, Daniel. How are you?
Well, I am doing well. How are you doing?
Good. I'm good as well. Thank you.
Excellent. I know that we have a lot of people coming in on the chat, both from the UK and Jamaica, and they would like to get some questions from you in terms of your journey to the Olympics and everything. So we're hoping to at least get that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, first of all, the first thing that I definitely want to ask of you in terms of how are you doing with this whole pandemic, and I know that you're trying to at least make plans to get back to training. What has it been like so far?
It's definitely been a bit of a roller coaster of emotions. At the beginning, it was quite tough, and then obviously finding out about the Olympics being delayed. Then I was able to process that and sort of see some of the positives, like being able to have another year to train. It's not necessarily a negative thing. And then I did lose a family member from COVID-19. So obviously that was tough. And in the same week, we lost one of our cats. So yeah, there's definitely been a bit of a roller coaster. And then right now, just a bit frustrated. As here in the UK, the elite athletes that train and compete for Great Britain or the other home nations are allowed to go back to training. But people that live in the UK that compete for other countries that are elite athletes aren't allowed to go back to training. So just at the moment, dealing with that, trying to get the rules changed. Yeah, so hopefully if we can get the overall rule changed, we'll not only be helping ourselves, but everybody in the same position.
Good. Has there been in terms of any progress on that front? Because I know expressed your frustration that it's really unfair, for those British athletes to get that ability to go back, but you yourself, for those representing other countries in the UK are still, subjected to in terms of the quarantine measures.
Yeah, so I emailed my MP for my local area in West London, and he got back to me really fast, which was great, and like definitely a great thing that he responded and saw that it needs to be changed. So now he's going to take it to the sports minister. And the same thing with a friend of mine. She competes for Sweden and trains at my gym, and her MP also got back to her. So it's showing that the members of parliament for the local areas, they're seeing that this is wrong. So hopefully now the people in charge can see it and change it, and hopefully quickly. That's the thing we want, because we're losing time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, because July will be coming right before you know it as well.
Exactly.
Exactly. Just tell me a bit, what has been in terms of, your experience in quarantine. I know it has been very frustrating for you because you should be on basically the tail end of your preparations
Yeah.
for the Olympics, and you've had to push a lot of things back. So I want to, and obviously, condolences to you losing a family member to COVID-19. What has been this whole thing like for you?
Thank you. Yeah, that's actually crazy. I haven't thought about that actually I should be sort of really super fit right now, just ready to go and get myself to Tokyo. So that kind of shows that I've come around to the new date, and that I feel like that's almost good progress, that I've accepted that I'm in a different schedule than originally planned. So my coaches have done a really good job. 5 days a week we do Zoom sessions for at least 2 hours. So I feel really fit, and I feel like the good things have been that I've been able to rest some injuries, some little aches and pains I had, and now they're all feeling a lot stronger, and so I'm just raring to go now. And yeah, it's just tough, and some of the rules are just sort of like, some of them just don't make sense, just like the one I've just mentioned that affects me, but there's just others that I can't say I'm a political person, but I just can't say that the people in charge have sort of done the best job that they could have.
And it just because obviously because you represent yourself as an athlete and you want to make sure that for all athletes that they have the best conditions possible.
Yeah.
As I suppose that as things get opening up, those are, I guess, probably the things that you'll be kind of looking at it.
Yeah, definitely. So I also know, obviously, Reece Beckford, my fellow Jamaican gymnast, he competes for Jamaica but trains in the UK as well. So I know that if we can get this rule changed, then I'm going to be helping him. And also I know a lot of the Jamaican rugby players live here. So hopefully, changing it is obviously going to be great for me, but hopefully it's just going to help all the other athletes, because I just do think that it's discrimination. And it's just not a level playing field. Fair enough that some countries have had their lockdowns open up earlier, but when it's in your country, the country you're living in, then you're expecting to go back at the same time.
One of the persons commented saying, they need to get the rule page ASAP. So they definitely agree with you too.
Thank you.
But I know that you must have been going out of your mind in terms of keeping in isolation. But what have been things that you've been doing to at least stay active?
Yeah. So I found the Zoom sessions with my coaches so useful, and then I had a few parents and coaches approach me and ask if I could hold sessions for them. So I've been doing that, and that's kept me really, really busy. I'm doing up to like 7 sessions a day, leading them for young gymnasts, and it's been really cool to not only do it for people locally but also just around the world. So that's been a really cool thing to inspire and keep motivating young gymnasts from all around the world. And also President Nicole for Jamaican Gymnastics, she's helped keep us all connected. Our senior team has been commenting on videos of the younger gymnasts on social media, and also sending videos of home workouts that they can do. So usually we wouldn't really have the time to do that. So it's been really cool to sort of actually get connected and connect us senior athletes that aren't living in Jamaica, but connect us to those younger gymnasts that are living in Jamaica. And it's just quite a nice feeling of community that we've had right from the beginning of lockdown.
Well, that's definitely important. I wanted to segue a little bit because I know every athlete, has in terms of origin story, as it were, in terms of how they started. And I was reading that your origin story really started Sydney 2000 Olympics. Can you explain in terms of what gave you and what made that Olympics leave a lasting impact on you to decide that gymnastics is really what I want to do?
Yeah, so I started gymnastics when I was 5, just as a hobby, and then the Sydney Olympics was the year later. So I remember seeing it, and that was like my first experience of realizing how big the Olympics was, and just like that was the pinnacle of sports. So then that became my goal from there. And then 2012 was the first one I was eligible for, and I was still competing for Great Britain then, and I was the reserve athlete, so I was very close. And then 2016, I qualified Jamaica a spot to the test event, but they decided to use a different athlete. So then I was that close again. And then I did actually retire from the sport. And then I still had this Olympic dream sort of inside me, that 5-year-old gymnast still had that dream. There wasn't much stopping me. So I just thought, I'm not going to have any regrets if I go for it and don't make it. But if I don't ever try, then I probably will have regrets. So I decided to get back in the gym after a year and a half off, and went for it. And it's honestly one of the proudest moments of my life, competing at last year's World Championships, and finally, on all my own merit, my decisions. I decide how much I train. I decide if I take time off, and I made it, and I've qualified, and I'm just so excited to be representing Jamaica on the biggest stage.
Excellent. Well, obviously, there's a lot of persons here at home and in the diaspora rooting for you. But can you tell me in terms of after 2012, what made you decide to make the switch?
Yeah, so I was at university in America, and I decided this sort of reawoke my love and passion for the sport, competing in college. And then I decided I wanted to compete internationally again. For Great Britain, that would require me flying back literally every few weeks to go to their camps and to their trials, and it just wasn't going to be feasible. So we looked into other options. I'm half Polish and half Jamaican, So we looked into both. And when I saw Tony Ann was already competing for Jamaica, we got in touch with her and sort of started having the conversation, and they helped me to get my papers and stuff together. And the other reason, though, was because I'm a huge Usain Bolt fan. So I've always had that sense of pride while watching all the Jamaican athletes in the Olympics. And I've never obviously seen a Jamaican gymnast, so I thought how cool it would be to sort of start paving the way and sort of start trailblazing along with Tony and all the others now, and just show that to the young children in Jamaica that it's not just athletics we're good at, but now we're also good at gymnastics. And I know that loads of other sports are also growing in Jamaica. So yeah, it's just exciting to be a part of that, and a part of history really. When we look back at Jamaican gymnastics, I'll be one of the first.
Well, that's definitely cool. Was it I guess did you have to obviously discuss with your parents as well to make in terms of the switch? What was that kind of discussion like?
So the funny thing is, I'm not actually close with my dad, and he's the Jamaican one, and my mum's the Polish one. So, but my mum kind of knew that I idolised Usain Bolt, and as much as I admire my Polish roots, it's just more fitting to me. Just the charisma that you see from Jamaican athletes, it's just a lot more fitting to how I am as an athlete. So she was fully supportive. And then I actually got to know some more of my family members on my dad's side when I got my nationality and my citizenship. So on that journey, it's been really cool to actually connect with some more family members and really learn more about my roots. And yeah, I just feel so much more connected and so much more pride in now being able to wear the flag and just represent on the world stage.
Have you managed to meet Usain Bolt at all?
I have, yeah. I met him. He actually was in London for his birthday after the Rio Olympics, and I got to go to his birthday party, and I was literally so starstruck. I didn't even know that was a real feeling, and I was literally hyperventilating. Luckily, my sister was all cool, calm, and collected, and was making the introductions. And he was honestly everything and more, because they say don't meet your idols. But he did not disappoint.
Exactly. It definitely must be because you've had this dream in terms of switching to Jamaica and seeing the influence that Usain Bolt had. It must have been really just coming full circle, as it were, to meet him and everything.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and still he's just one of my biggest idols now. And obviously, he's not an athlete anymore, but everything he does for Jamaica and just in general, he's just such a cool person. But also, I admire him on every level.
Exactly. Remember, guys, please send in your questions for Danusia. She's right here. We're going to be here for the next, for more 45 minutes. So please, any questions that you may have, tell us where you're commentating from and everything, whether you are in the UK, or we have some viewers from the US as well. So any questions that you may have for her, just please let us know. I think they might be having one. I think, Piggles Deajin is asking, will she be having a meetup with Jamaicans in Japan?
So at the Olympics, the Jamaicans will stay in the same part of the village. Usually events, you have a block or two dedicated to your country. So at the moment, I'm the only gymnast that has qualified. So there's still a chance for some of my teammates to qualify. But if they don't, then I'll certainly be, even if they do, I'll certainly be mixing with all the other Jamaicans, and obviously in the opening ceremony and everything, we all walk together. But I'm so excited. I know a couple of them already from Pan American Games, and obviously Yona I know quite well now. So yeah, definitely.
I think he was asking in terms of, I guess, because there's Jamaicans in Japan as well. So I guess
not athletes.
Yeah, and I don't think you might be saying athletes. I think just Jamaicans in general. Probably Jamaican.
It hadn't crossed my mind actually, but I'm willing to. Especially, I'm assuming if there's Jamaicans living in Japan, they might come to watch the Olympics. So I'd love to meet. I love meeting anyone that's a supporter. So yeah, I'm open to it.
Exactly. Because I think you've probably seen already that Jamaicans we're very proud, and we're very when we come to our sports, and especially a part of our athletes. How does it feel in terms of when you get that rallying support, especially not just for making the Olympics, but
Yeah.
also, the Pan American Games last year.
It feels amazing. A few examples sort of came to my head then when you just said it. First of all, when I was in Jamaica in November at the Jamaica Classic, which is the annual Jamaican gymnastics competition, and seeing all the young gymnasts and how they were supporting each other, it was just on another level. And I was like, yes, this is everything. I hope they keep that spirit as they grow through the ranks and as they get older. And then the other thing that came to my head was I went like slightly viral after this event called the Superstars of Gymnastics, and obviously I was representing Jamaica there, and after that, because the video went a little bit viral, I got so much support from the Jamaicans from everywhere, like from England, but mostly from the Caribbean, and it was just unbelievable. Yeah, everyone was just so lovely, and now just like having that extra following from Jamaica, it's just so much support that I see every single time that I post. And especially when you're wearing like your leotard with the flag on, yeah, everyone gets really into it, and I just love that. That's like kind of like what I said when I was deciding with Jamaica or Poland. It was just kind of that spirit that really just drew me into representing Jamaica.
Oh, we just have to just acknowledge Gramps Morgan's in the chat. From Morgan Heritage is in the chat. Welcome. If you have any questions for Danusia, please feel free to ask her. Really good. Because of Morgan Heritage as well. You mentioned a lot in terms of your college career at UCLA and how it really, in terms of shaped your gymnastics career. What were the kind of things that were what was the biggest challenge that you had in going to UCLA, and what was the biggest gratification that you got from it?
In terms of going there, I went to boarding school from the age of 9. So I didn't think I was going to be homesick, but then when I got there, I was homesick. It was such a culture shock. And then as well as that, just getting used to all the new things, like not only the culture, but just like the rules and like how to get to class, just all these tiny things that I guess you just take for granted on a day-to-day basis as well. And like I didn't have a phone for a while, like a week while I got there, because obviously my UK phone wasn't working. So yeah, I was pretty stressed out for my first probably like couple of months, and I got quite homesick my first year. But I'm so passionate about spreading the word about how amazing college gymnastics and college sports as a whole is. They just really, it's so hard for me to express because I just loved it so much, but they just, particularly in gymnastics, they bring out the best in you as a gymnast. Whereas I feel like in elite gymnastics in FIG, there's so many rules and regulations, and you just have to be a certain way. So you can't quite flourish and be like your best self or your best gymnast or your best performer because you're sort of in this box. And I know that's quite critical, but that's just how I feel. And particularly the coaches at UCLA, I think they just did such a good job of bringing the best out in every single gymnast. And the best achievement that I got when I was there was the national balance beam champion in my senior year. So I think each year I had that potential to be at least sort of in the top 3 of balance beam, but I think over the 4 years I really grew and my potential just shone through in my final year. And that's just like how that just shows how the coaches bring out the best in you. And I think most of my UCLA sisters would agree with me.
Exactly, because obviously, especially in America, in terms of when you're talking gymnastics, it's basically a lot of the cream of the crop of athletes are in that system.
Yeah, so in gymnastics, that's why going in, if someone told me you're going to be national balance beam champion, I'd be like, I don't think so, because you've literally got Olympic champions, Olympic level athletes from all over the world. But obviously we all know America is the powerhouse of gymnastics. They've won the past, I think it's like 3 Olympics. They're literally unstoppable. So you literally have the most amazing gymnasts in the world. But then in college it becomes more of a level playing field. Everyone's out of 10 again. So yeah, it was just amazing to then, it's like a pinch myself thing when I even look back now to think I was the champion amongst such an amazing field of gymnasts.
Was it routine?
Sorry, it just froze a bit then. Please, can you repeat that?
Yeah, exactly. I was just asking, was it in college that you developed into or crafted your signature routine?
Yeah, it was actually. The beam dismount that I'm sort of like known for was one of my college coaches that thought of that. And yeah, so that's now become sort of my signature thing, and competed at last year's World Championships. And I think beam is such a crucial event, especially in a high level setting such as the World Championships. So to also do a dismount that's quite high risk and quite different is a bit of a challenge, but I think it separates me from the competition, and it's brought me this far, so definitely proud of it.
Exactly. Let's just get to one of the questions real quick. Let's see. Foster Lane 8 says, this is a good question to ask. What type of Jamaican food you like the best?
Oh, okay. I really love saltfish fritters. I literally didn't even know about them until until about 3 times ago when I went to Jamaica. And then every single restaurant we went to, I ordered them because I was testing out to find out which ones were my favorite.
Has it become in terms of the guilty pleasure, the food that you eat on the cheat days?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if any place to get them in the UK, let me know, because I'm having withdrawal symptoms.
Well, if there's anybody in the chat that has that information, no problem. Please feel to divulge. um, you mentioned in terms of, you said that, you took some time after, I think it was 2016, in terms of, because you said that you were, you had the, I guess, intention of retiring. What was that period like, and what led you to decide that? Because you said that, if you hear that, there's a lot of thunder going on. Just to, because obviously you said you took some time to decide in terms of what you wanted. What was that period like? And because you mentioned that, you had to see exactly, nothing tried, nothing done. But in
Yeah.
terms of the process, what led you in terms of to decide that, all right, I really want another go after not being able to get to the Olympics a second time?
So I fully thought I was retired. I didn't go to any sort of gymnastics training. I probably worked out in just a regular gym like twice a week just to sort of keep in shape, maybe 3 times. And I wasn't really thinking of coming back to it at all. I lived with my sister that year, and we had a really good time, like going partying, just doing the normal sort of post-university things. And I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do sort of career-wise. I knew I wanted to stay within the sport of gymnastics. Obviously, it's my passion. So I was doing a bit of coaching and workshops. And there was just one particular week where loads of different people, like different people from different gyms and from the gym that I train at now, because I was doing some private coaching lessons, asked me if I was going to do a comeback. And I was like, why are they even thinking that? Like, I graduated and I retired, like end of story kind of thing. I just want to sort of work and help out as much as I can now. But then I sort of started to think about it more. And then I thought, like, in the future, when I'm talking to my kids or my grandkids, will I regret saying that I could have, there was nothing really stopping me, but I didn't try for that 3rd time, even though it was my dream. So I thought, okay, yeah. So I called my mum, and she was like, you're an adult now. Like, you have a degree. You can make that decision, but I support you no matter what. And so, yeah, then I emailed my coaches. They thought I was a little bit crazy, but they were fully supportive as well. So originally I sort of thought I'll set my goal as the Commonwealth Games, because to me that was like a more attainable goal. And I was training, but Jamaica could only send one gymnast to the Commonwealth Games. And so they sent Reese, one of the guys, which obviously stung a little bit at the time. But since I've been training and sort of got back to that level, I sort of had to admit to myself that it wasn't just Commonwealth that I wanted to do, it was the Olympics. And I think having missed out so narrowly twice, it was quite hard for me to say that out loud and come to that realization, because obviously everybody has a bit of a fear of failure. So obviously I was scared to sort of say out loud, okay, I want to do the Olympics. And especially a couple of years before it, when you really don't know what your chances are. But by that time I was becoming more confident and felt like I had a good shot. So yeah, I just went for it, and then haven't really looked back. And I feel like the more I was able to say that sort of dream out loud and admit it, the more I was believing in myself, and my training got better and the consistency. And then I think after Pan Am last year, I had a lot of confidence, and yeah, then made it come true.
Well, and you know, it's a reflection in terms of your 2019 on a whole, because not only you got to the competed at the Pan American Games in Lima, you know, got to the final, the first Jamaican gymnast to get to, you know, a major final, and then you basically you know, progress from there into Stuttgart. But before I get into Stuttgart, because I know there's you know, you probably have some very mentions from that. How instrumental and critical was Pan American Games to your ultimate dream of going to the Olympics?
I think the Pan American Games was, I can't remember what month, I want to say August or September, and then August, yeah, and then the World Championships was going to be October.
Yeah.
So I think coming out of Pan Am's, I was either going to go into World Championships feeling confident or feeling the opposite. So I didn't put too much pressure on myself for Pan Am's, but I did have a vision board, but it was more like a dream board, and it said that I was going to make the all-around final and the beam final. And I wrote those down like a year before, and that was without having sort of worked out what my chances are of making the finals. That was just like my dreams. So I had no idea if I actually had a chance to make these finals. So going in, I was just training, wanting to do a consistent competition and just obviously have no mistakes. My training had been so great, and it was great when I got out there. And then I managed to pull that off. And then my beam routine was like decent, but it got quite a low score. So we kind of thought, oh, that's a shame. Like maybe I had a chance at the beam final, but maybe not now. And then as we were seeing the other scores come in, we realised, oh, actually, they're scoring everyone on the same level. So I ended up qualifying, I can't remember, like, but pretty high for the beam final. And I made the all-around final. So that was really exciting. And then in the all-around final, I put in an extra skill on the beam because we kind of just figured I've got nothing to lose. And then I ended up coming 7th, which was literally like as high as I could have come kind of thing. Like I had the greatest competition I could have. So like my coach at UCLA would always say, like, if you've done your personal best, that's like the same as winning, if that makes sense. So I know obviously it's not the same in terms of the history books or the scoreboard, but feeling wise, you just feel that feeling of satisfaction and like accomplishment. So yeah, I kept so proud of myself and just sort of raring to go and feeling like, yeah, I can accomplish my ultimate goal at the next championships, which would have been obviously Worlds in Stuttgart.
You know, obviously, you know, it must have been a dream come true. Can you just take me back to what the feeling, what you were feeling that you finally got to?
Kind of, yeah. It's just a bit jumpy.
Yeah, probably the fire signal. I was asking in terms of, you know, you finally, you know, got to attain your team on the 3rd time of asking. So I was wondering in terms of what were the emotions like that you finally, you know, accomplished what you set out to do.
Yeah. Oh, well, I feel like it hasn't even fully sunk in. Like probably not until I'm in Tokyo, seeing the Olympic rings everywhere and wearing the Jamaican flag, will I fully be like, I've done it, like massive tick off the vision board, off the dream board. But obviously I felt so proud of myself, and just seeing all the messages flood in from supporters, from friends, from family, from people at UCLA, and yeah, just pride, honestly, and just feeling like ready to inspire other people just to follow their dreams, and yeah, just feel like, yeah, that's it really. That sums it up. Pride and just ready to inspire others as well.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of inspires, because not only you have been keeping up your training, but also having the time to having Zoom classes for not just local athletes, but other athletes around the world. How rewarding has that been? And in terms of the reaction that you're getting from parents.
Yeah, it's amazing. Obviously, you don't know how effective they're going to be to start with, but now I feel like Zoom training and leading Zoom trainings is just like second nature. Now it's been like almost 3 months, and some of the parents have already approached me and asked me to carry on with their children after quarantine. So that just is like massive to me, that obviously they're willing to still keep this training going alongside their normal training when they get back into it. So that just shows me that I'm doing a good thing, and hopefully really helping these kids. And I also think having my experiences from college, and I've always had great coaches and great role models. So I think I can take a lot of what I've learned, not necessarily in the sport of gymnastics, but just as like an overall person, overall athlete, just in terms of diet, in terms of just like the overall picture of how to be a healthy person and athlete, and hopefully just be sort of like a role model for some of these people that I've now sort of built relationships with.
Is it, does this kind of experience, has this reinvigorated in terms of the coaching, the coaching bug? I know that you want to do, to be in the sport of gymnastics, after you hang them up. But do you feel that, that coaching is an area that you feel that you can move into full time?
Yeah, it's hard because I always have like different ideas of what I want to do. So I think obviously at the moment I don't have to fully make that decision yet, but I do actually love coaching. So then if I was going to coach, I would want it to be like all down to me. Like I would want to be able to shape the athletes. So I know that if I was going to do it, I would want to take it very seriously. So I think maybe that's something that I can do later on in life, because I still have other things that I want to do, such as like stunt work and stuff, which you can't really do later on in life. So yeah, maybe one day I'd love to sort of have my own gym and coach young girls and just give them this overall wholesome experience that I feel like I've had, but I know a lot of gymnasts haven't had.
What can you talk about more of the stunt work, in terms of, because I know that in the middle of that 2016 period that you were that you were, I guess, in your first sort of semi-retirement, that you were doing stunt work as well. What was that? What is that like?
Yeah, so that was when I first did a stunt double job, doubling the singer Rita Ora, and that was really cool. Got to wear this like amazing gown and do a somersault, and it was like landing in a car, so that was really cool. And then I've just got quite lucky. I haven't really tried to seek out these jobs because obviously I'm quite busy, but I've got lucky and got some of these jobs, and alongside my training I've been able to be in 2 movies now. So Wonder Woman, that's coming out this year, I was just doubling one of the Amazons, so that was such a cool experience, and just the people you get to meet as well. And then I worked at this winter just gone, I worked on a Netflix movie, so I'm not sure when that's coming out, but again, just met some of the most amazing people, and yeah, it's just a really cool industry to be a part of. I think all the pressured situations of gymnastics help for that as well.
This is kind of shocking to me. So when Wonder Woman opens in theaters this November, then this Jamaican gymnast Danusia Francis will have had a part to play in it. Excellent.
I'm excited.
Is it something that you feel that you could do that in the future, on a permanent basis?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I learned a lot about it on the last 2 movies that I've done. So now I feel like I know like what I have to do to really get into that industry. So yeah, I feel like after the Olympics, I can really put my energy into that a bit more.
Does this, give in terms of a career path, in terms of for local gymnasts as well, because it's not just about the competition. There's a lot of things that you can do after, and does this in terms of broaden the horizons, as it were?
Yeah, 100%. When I was doing gymnastics when I was younger and there wasn't sort of social media and stuff, there was obviously there was a few opportunities, but not really. But now with social media, there's just so many opportunities. People see you on there and then they can just contact you like that. And I believe that's how I've got my my foot in the door in this industry. So yeah, just keep grinding, keep showing your best self. That's what it's for. I know sometimes it's criticised for that. And yeah, it's nice to sometimes show a more like vulnerable side, or not always show like perfection. But if you're also promoting yourself, then yeah, you're going to get some doors open and some opportunities come your way.
Just switching back into well, it is raining and thunderstorms here. So if you are hearing that, and the like, it's pretty, you know, the surrounding is very, very damp here. So so unfortunately, I think it's probably classic British weather, probably.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it sounds worse than our weather here.
Well, because usually, and it's a shame probably because it's not like we haven't had, you know, sunny skies here, but, you know, I guess, you know, it's fitting that we have you on because you've brought the weather here.
Yeah, sorry.
I just wanted to talk in terms of, have you been, you know, communicating with, you know, Reese, with Tony Ann, and with all the local gymnasts in terms of the community? How has that community been strengthened recently, and how important it is for, not just for yourself, for Tony, for Reese, but also to make sure that you stay together in terms of supporting each other, because obviously, you know, if when one person wins, everybody wins. But I know that Reese and Tony will definitely want to make, you know the Olympics as well and join you.
Yeah. So obviously the Pan American Games was going to be their next chance to qualify. So that's obviously being postponed. So obviously when we get to that, I'll be their biggest supporter, because I think it would just be so amazing to not only be the second person at the Olympics for gymnastics for Jamaica, but to have more than one of us there. That's going to be another record and another historic moment for us. So yeah, I'm rooting for them all the way. We all stay in touch. Obviously Nicole keeps us updated with the logistics. And then I was in contact with Reese, talking about obviously the issue in the UK that we can't train yet. So he's on board, obviously trying to make a change there. And then Kiara is working on getting into college. So so I've been helping her with that, just giving her all my advice, and hoping she makes the right decision there. And yeah, so yeah, we all stay in touch. And like you said, when one wins, we all win. So rooting for them, and I know they're rooting for me as well.
Somebody on the chat wanted to ask, in terms, because you know you are not just half Jamaican, you're half Polish as well. So one of our viewers wanted to find out, do you know any Polish words?
I know the bare minimum, and I'm so ashamed because I wish I'd listened to my grandparents when I was young and they asked me to learn. But I know Grandma and Granddad, Batcha and Jadek. I know Merry Christmas, but my accent's terrible too. So I know it's horrible. I really wish I did know it, but I do have a lot of respect, obviously, for where I come from. And one day I will learn at least like a good few phrases.
So can you say Merry Christmas in Polish?
Okay, I'm gonna, hopefully no one comment on how bad I say it, but it's Wesołych Świat, I believe. So probably my accent. But that is how I've learned it. And knowing, yeah.
Well, that's probably one. Yeah, because you know, maybe that's probably the things that you could have probably done during quarantine. Finally, get to learn some Polish words.
That's true. I might have to do that tomorrow.
Exactly. You know, because you talked about more of in terms of your Jamaican experience. I just wanted to know in terms of what, you know, I guess you look onto certain things in terms of, I guess, a defining moment, and then probably could you consider making the switch to represent Jamaica as your defining moment, and how has representing Jamaica changed you?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that was definitely a defining moment. And just, it was a really moment of pride when I had an official passport and stuff like that. Like, I don't have a Polish one, maybe one day. But yeah, just to be like, I am a citizen of Jamaica. That was a really defining moment, and to know that I was now going to be able to, like I said, help trailblaze inspire gymnasts in Jamaica. And what was the second part of the question? Sorry.
I think it was in terms of what has been the most rewarding part about, you know, representing Jamaica.
The most rewarding part, I think, has to be when I go back to Jamaica. So just like walking through the airport, I'll occasionally get like recognised, and especially obviously at the gymnastics competition, everyone's so excited, and it just shows me how far it's come. Like, gymnasts are excited, and they obviously know us, and to see a really exciting moment was to see the opening of the National Training Centre in November. So I was really happy to be able to make it to that, and see the ribbon getting cut and everything. That was a really big defining moment, and just sort of showed that sort of the government and everyone was behind gymnastics, behind growing the sport in Jamaica. So it feels like it's been a small group for a while, but now it feels like it's massively grown, and I can't wait for the day when there's like a Jamaican gymnast on the podium at like the Olympics, and I'll sort of look at that and just be like, we were a part of that, and I cannot wait. That's going to be like major chills. I can't wait for that moment.
What has given you in terms of more pride in terms of the future of the program here locally? Because, you know, you were here for the opening, you know, of the gym, but in terms of the local talent, you know, how excited are you to see in terms of having, you know, a space for that talent to develop for, you know, local based athletes to rise?
Yeah, well, just seeing how the Jamaica Classic has progressed over the years, and then so not only has the competition become more professional, there's more people attending it from other countries as well as Jamaican athletes, and then also seeing just how much the gymnastics has improved. And then just recently during lockdown, Nicole reached out to us, President Nicole of Gymnastics, to write programs for the different levels. And so I think just the way that they're obviously using our knowledge, a lot of us have done coaching, so they're using our knowledge and our expertise and really getting the best for the gymnasts. It's not just like fun and games, they're getting serious, they're getting the gymnasts in set groups, set programs. So I'm just seeing massive growth. And it's almost like every few months there's something, like whether it's getting programs together or whether it's Nicole reaching out, wanting to come and do more international events. And yeah, seeing the gymnasts compete in Texas as well, taking it overseas, not just us seniors, but the younger ones as well. So yeah, we're making our stamp, and we're just growing and growing, and yeah, I love seeing it.
Well, you know, obviously, you know, with the postponements of the Olympics, you've had to a lot of things back. Also, one of them is in impending nuptials. You know, in navigating. So in navigating that, in navigating pullback, you know, your wedding was the fact that you know the wedding will be there, but you know the Olympics, you want to make sure that at least to get everything done for the Olympics before, you know, to enter that chapter in your life.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it's like getting married is going to be a whole new chapter. So we could have kept our wedding on the same date, but it would have just been like a month before the Olympics, and I just thought that I won't be able to give my all to either of them, so I didn't want any of them to suffer. They're going to be two of the biggest events of my life, and like the most life-changing ones, so I wanted to be able to give my full energy to both of them, and obviously I've got more sway in when my wedding is than the Olympics, so that's the one that had to get moved by me. So yeah, but it's fine. Silver linings, we can save up for longer, and just really make it exactly how we wanted it. So
yeah. Well, I think the question is, you know, because is your fiance is British? Is he British? If I can.
He's half Jamaican as well.
Oh wow! Because the next question I was going to ask: is it going to be a very hard time, you know, for him to support if he was for Britain to there? But it seems like in terms of
exactly, he'll be supporting Jamaica all the way. He's got his t-shirt. He's ready.
Exactly. Has it been in terms of like, you know, this whole experience in terms of, to be fully in the culture itself, because married somebody who is Jamaican, you have reached out to friends, relatives, and you feel like more ingrained into the Jamaican culture. Do you feel in terms of an extra amount of responsibility to make sure that you do of your best because of the I guess connecting with your roots, as it were?
Yeah, 100% actually. I like how you just worded it there, but last time when both me and my fiance were in Jamaica, he actually has travelled Jamaica on his own before, so he was able to show me a lot of places and sort of more of the history and stuff like that, which was great. And yeah, he's just very knowledgeable about his roots, so that's inspired me more to like not only just get to know my family, but try to learn more about the culture and obviously all the history and what's gone on. And then his family lives in Kingston still, so we actually went and stayed with them, which was really cool too, rather than just we were in an Airbnb in Montego Bay to start with, and then we drove down to Kingston and stayed with them. So it was cool to be like immersed in family life and just yeah, just really feel part of it. And yeah, it's been really, really cool, and I feel like he's fitted into my journey perfectly, and helps me delve even deeper and just make me even more proud. So yeah, it's exciting, and like you said, I'm extra excited now just to really feel the support from the Jamaicans, and just to feel more Jamaican than I've ever felt in my life. Like, it's hard being mixed race because in my blood I'm not British, I'm half Jamaican and half Polish, so it's that dilemma of like, where do you fit in? And I feel more Jamaican. I'm so proud, and I just cannot wait to represent.
Excellent. Remember, we don't have a lot of limited time, so if you want to get viewers, if you want to get your questions, now is the time to do it. There's a lot of persons wishing you the best, which is definitely good to see. Where in Jamaica are is your parents from, or relatives from specifically?
They're from C4 St. Thomas.
Oh, sorry, can you come again?
Yeah, they're from C4 St. Thomas. And
Oh,
actually,
all right.
funny story. Oh, I hate that I didn't check her name now, but she might be watching this. A relative of mine, she actually competes for bobsled, but I've never met her, didn't know about her. She contacted me recently just through Instagram and just introduced herself. And we must be like cousins or something. Yeah, but we're relatives. And she competes as well for Jamaica in the bobsled team. And then obviously I compete for gymnastics. And yeah, we're related. So I was really excited to learn about that. Have two Olympians in the family.
Well, that is excellent. If you hear, guy, if there's any persons from St. Thomas, you have an Olympian from that. That's, I guess. Someone said, "Call me to St. Thomas in the house."
Hey.
I mean, obviously, the pride that you feel, obviously, it just comes off the screen. That pride that you have. Is it? I was reading in terms of one of the interviews that you did recently. Is it true that after you achieve that, after this Olympic Games in Tokyo next year, that it would be that after post Olympics, that it would be the best time for you to I guess close your competitions chapter?
You know what? It's quite hard because before the Olympics, so obviously it was going to be 2020, and then the Commonwealth Games was in 2022. So originally it was like quite far off, and I wasn't really considering staying for 2 more years. But now, by the time the Olympics is over, it's only going to be like 6 months away. So I know my mum's quite keen for me to do it, and obviously that means like a lot. It's also in the UK, so a lot of my friends and family could come and watch. So I've definitely not completely ruled it out. But like I said, I do also want to put more of my energy into my wedding. So I'll never say never, because the first time I retired, I thought I was done. So I also haven't been able to do Commonwealth Games before. So we'll see. It looks like I might have a relative, Arlene Francis. I don't know. She's from Seaforth and her surname's Francis. So
I mean, if that's the case, welcome. We acknowledge you on the chat, Arlene. Maybe that's something you need to explore yourself, to see if you have more if you have more relatives on the chat.
Yeah, DM me, Arlene.
Well, but I mean, and finally, obviously, there's a lot of things that, you said yourself, you say never because in terms of, because it's taken a lot for you to get to this point. What it
Yeah.
was, what is the, if you could try sum up in terms of one thing that you've learned, from this journey that you've been on, what is the one thing that you've taken with you?
Oh, that's good. Probably just sort of don't hold back. So I'd say like if your dream or your goal seems massive, seems huge, don't hold back. That means you need to go for it even more. You need to believe in yourself that much more. But also don't always just look at the end goal. Just make sure you're using stepping stones. Make sure you're setting sort of daily goals, because it can just get a bit overwhelming if you're constantly looking at that massive goal. But yeah, so for example, like Pan Am's was the goal that I originally looked at and then moved on from there. But even just in the gym every day, daily goals, don't get overwhelmed, believe in yourself, and just like you've got one life, so just go for it, do what you want, go for your goals and dreams, and don't hold back.
One of the last questions we'll try to at least to get in. Do you have a favorite Jamaican reggae artist? That's from Foster Lane 8.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I'm gonna be cliche and say Bob Marley, but also I did see Ziggy Marley. He performed at UCLA when I was there at the reggae festival, and that was amazing. Yeah, so probably a bit cliche, but can't deny that it's good music.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot of questions that were coming in, but unfortunately, we are limited for time. But Danusia, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I know there's a lot of eyes on gymnastics, not because of the program success, but for your success as well. And we hope that all good things for you to come next July, and hopefully that you will stay on for another 2 years or more.
Yeah, watch this space.
All right. Thanks a lot, Danusia. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Daniel. Good talking to you again.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye. And that was it, guys. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you joining us for another episode. We'll have another interesting guest for episode 6 for next Thursday. But for now, please make sure that you follow us on Instagram. Make sure that you click the notification so you'll be notified exactly when we're on live. And please watch this space. Same, probably a different time, but same day on Thursdays. Thanks so much and take care.